Hello lovelies and welcome to the channel. First off, I want to say excuse me for the squeaky voice. It is the school holidays and the weather is getting cooler, so of course that means I'm getting sick. So you get to enjoy my lovely squeak. So I have a Project Life video for you today. Yes, week 7. I am as always a little behind, but I'm working on getting it done and getting it in the album. So I started off, what I did is I moved inside because there's a certain time of day where the sun comes through my art room window and it ruins any chance I have of doing any videos because the shadows are horrible. So I brought my setup inside to the dining room table so I could work on my Project Life inside, and I managed to rig up a different filming setup out in my art room so I can do both. So this is working really well for me. I don't have to keep chopping and changing, and my most productive time of the day during the school term, after I pick up the boys from school, I don't have to be inactive and not film because of the lighting, so I can bring it inside. So what I did is I got my photos. This is my week 7, like I was saying. I printed off my photos and then I rounded up some supplies that I could use excuse me, for this week. The problem I have lately when I'm not using a kit is trying to decide what to use for my layouts. And I found that's been a rather common problem lately. So I just don't know what to use, and then I feel like I'm using the same things on every photo and I get very bogged down and very uninspired by it. So I thought, why don't I make my own mini kit, bring it inside with me and just use what I have. So that's what I did. I rounded up a few things, sort of making a stash busting kit. Maybe that's something we can do on a regular basis. Maybe that could be a new video we could do. Make up our own DIY stash busting kit. That's an idea. You might have to look into that. So basically I grabbed a few things, brought them inside, and that's what I decided to use for this week. So my title card I really enjoyed. I had to cover up some ink. So what I did is that week was actually a wood veneer that I had, but the alphas I had brought in were black, and the wood veneer I didn't want to leave raw, but I didn't bring any paint or anything inside with me, so I got lazy. I had an ink pad and I just used the ink pad that I had to ink it up. It was very small, very cheapy ink pad, but it did the job. But of course I got ink all over my fingers. No matter how hard I try to keep things clean, it doesn't happen. So I got a lovely little fingerprint on my title card, which is why I used the wood veneer hearts to cover it up. And then I just sort of ran with it and made a few little sprinkle clusters, and that was how I finished off my title card, nice and simple. What I do seem to keep forgetting to do is adding my dates to my title card, so I'm going to have to do that. But I do remember this was the week of Valentine's Day, so I can't remember that. So it was sometime in February. I can't remember the exact date, so I'm going to have to go back and put that on my title card. So I brought in a few of the DIY clusters that I had. So I found one that I put in this picture down the bottom of Cooper and I. It just says I love you. I just thought it was perfect for that little corner there. And then on the photo next to that, this is a school Valentine that Will made for me. So my favourite way to add journaling to my photos is to cut up strips of cardstock or paper, journal on them and attach them straight to my photo. I don't know if it'll last forever, but it works for me, and I like having the story behind the photo. I say this in almost all of my videos. That's what's very important to me about my Project Life. Not just the photos, but to include the story behind these photos. Like this photo of all those blue blobs, those are actually bean bags, and this was Will's second week of school, and he had a rough start on the Tuesday, and he spent about the first hour under the bean bags in the classroom. He just wasn't having a good day. So I've journaled, that it was a rough start to the day for him, and that will remind me of, what happened this day. I've also written in my journal, it's about the stories, not always the good things as well. So remembering how this week he really struggled. He had a shocker of a week, his second week at school. He just really struggled to settle in, but thankfully he settled really well now. But just remembering those things are going to be important to me. And I'm journaling now I used some embellishments that I had left over, and one of them had this February on it, which I thought was perfect for this because I decided to journal about our Valentine's Day. So this photo at the top next to my title card was basically our Valentine's Day date. So hubby and I don't tend to get out much by ourselves, but we do happen to live in a beautiful place. So basically we went up to Point Danger, and it's sort of like a lookout that looks out over the ocean. It's really beautiful. And so we went up there and we had a picnic dinner with the boys. The boys chose what we had for dinner, so we had McDonald's. So yes, my Valentine's date was McDonald's with my 2 children, but it was a lot of fun. So I just journaled that was our Valentine's, and it's great to have these memories. So I really wanted to include that awesome photo of the 4 of us as well. So now moving on to the other side, and this is lots of random photos. So I'm starting with this picture of my car. My poor car has made a funny noise back in February, and it needs to go to the exhaust shop to get looked at. So they put it up on the hoist, and it just so happened to have a window, so I snapped a photo of it. So I just wanted to include it because I thought it was cool. So I found a sticker that says, "Don't worry, be happy." And then I'm going to just journal my poor car, and I'm going to make my own little cluster here. I'm using washi tape for the first time in like forever. I picked up a few rolls of washi as I was collecting supplies to bring in with me, and I hadn't used it in forever, so I thought I may as well. So I just did. I grabbed it and put it on and made a little cluster out of it. Speaking of clusters, this is another one of those DIY embellishments that I've made. This is a rather interesting photo. So I fully believe in documenting the mundane, typical, everyday things. And this day, I think it was a Sunday, and my sister had hired a carpet machine from Coles and to clean her carpets in her lounge, and I managed to talk her into coming over and doing mine. In my defense, she did offer first, so this is her coming over and cleaning my lounge. That's a lovely face she's pulling at me because I took a photo of her doing it. So I just like to include all of that. For some reason, there are lots of random photos in my project life. Like this picture, not this one that I'm working on now, but the one next to it. Actually, these 3 are related. The top one, the screenshot of the conversation, and this journal card that I'm doing now. So we have a pool out the back, a blessing and a curse. We also have a creepy crawly, and the creepy crawly just wasn't working. It wasn't moving and ticking like it was supposed to. So hubby spent the Sunday out there trying to figure out what was going on, and this was I went somewhere, I don't know where I went, but he sent me a message and I had to take a screenshot and keep it because it was just so funny. Now, this was in February, and for New Year's Eve, the boys and I decided to crack a bunch of glow sticks and throw them in the pool. I'm wondering if you can guess where this is going. Needless to say, no matter how many times we thought we got them all out, the creepy crawly always found more. And this conversation was him telling me that he had poured out multiple glow sticks, and that's why the creepy crawly wasn't working. So yeah, needless to say, it probably wasn't a good idea putting the glow sticks in the pool. And that's pretty much what I've journaled. I journaled that conversation that we had and all the drama he had with that creepy crawly. So yeah, needless to say, he wasn't thrilled with the glow stick idea. So screenshots are something I include often in my project life, whether it be text messages or Facebook posts or something. I like to include them either in my journal or in my project life. I find that a lot of things happen via text message or Facebook posts in this day and age, and I don't want to miss out on those stories as well. Like this episode with the glow stick was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. And I also get lots of text messages from my sister, both my sisters, but my middle one in particular, of funny stories about her new baby, Luna, who is the little munchkin in the corner there. So she's 3 months old now, and I get lots of funny messages and pictures. So I like to include all of these. So if you're short on photos or something, screenshots are a really good thing to include, whether it be Facebook or messages or just anything that grabs your attention. There's always really interesting stuff to include, and I do it a lot. I'm sure you've seen a fair few text message conversations and things like that included in my project life. This picture down the bottom is this is a picture of me and Monkey. So I've mentioned it before, both my boys have autism, and this was that same week, Will's second week of school, so we knew it was going to be a rough week. And this was just one of those days. He just had a massive meltdown and he just could not calm down. So we did what we always do, and we had snuggles. Now, he loves snuggles. Well, what kid doesn't? But he just could not calm down, and in the end, he basically all but passed out and just crashed. So I just took a little selfie while we were doing that, because I take photos of everything. And then I'm just putting that story behind that photo down there. So that's, yeah, always include those stories. So I didn't realize, but that's it for my layout. So thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll be back real soon. Bye for now.